How do, everyone? Welcome back to the Pottymouth Garden Club. And yes, Jesse's down. I think Jesse is away for the day, so I'm left with these two reprobates there.
I know.
JB's
We'll try and make up for her absence.
We'll do our
JB's been
best.
in a power meeting and has just come in there now, so he doesn't know if he's talking about statistics or anyway. JB, are you good? Are you hay fever all right?
I'm good
This week. Is hay fever all right?
Actually, yeah. I must say the weather kind of turning and all this rain has been very good for my hay fever. If nothing else, we've had like 2 weeks of quite a lot of
it's
lanky weather.
One positive with this rain. And right. Audrey,
Absolutely.
Nice to see you again. Yes.
Nice to be here.
Yes, thank you. And everyone that's in the live chat, hello. Yes, we've been Linda. And actually, it was Nicola in the live chat. Jimmy, this is a good one. Nicola's got, I've never heard of it. And Nicola's quite keen to just like kind of carry on and work with it. But arsenic in the ground. Now, Audrey thought arsenic was a natural occurring substance. I couldn't tell you either way, but that's for me, a thing that
but it would have to be a high concentration if you could test for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think
I
think it does occur naturally in like really low volumes, right?
Right,
but
that's what I mean. But have it that concentrated?
Yeah, that sounds a bit scary.
Yeah.
What would
it's an old mining site. It's an old mining site. That's probably why they're
right.
There's always a reason, right?
I mean, I know there was when we got our tiles done on the kitchen floor, you had to go through a few layers, and there was some sort of arsenic level there. Do you know what I mean? And the tiler, whoever, if it were a proper company, like like you say, there would have been like, right, we'll have to kind of evacuate the house and we'll do a proper job. And the tiler put on a COVID mask and just said, "Give us 10 minutes, I'll get this up." So that's
incredible.
JB, how would you tackle something like that? Because I was saying, Audrey, for me, I'd want to just probably move allotment, even if I knew it was there. I'd be hard pressed to kind of get in my head to kind of eat the veg, knowing there might be traces of arsenic in.
You would expect and hope that there's some kind of element of environmental health regulations, right? So I don't know if Nicola's become aware of this because of her own testing or because it's been flagged up as a potential like environmental health condition. But if the ground is that contaminated and they've got an allotment on it, there's probably some environmental laws that mean.
Well, she said she's only gardening in raised beds.
Land. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I suppose what you'd want to do is get some testing done and then seek out some professional advice on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Find out whether or not it's safe to eat.
Jamie, does that come anywhere in your remit of like
no
your day-to-day job?
No, it's similar.
Would you not even come across like dangerous substances in the ground or anything like that? Or no?
So contamination would normally be dealt with by the Environment Agency, but depending on what you want to do, there's probably quite a big distinction between your local planning authority, your council normally, and the Environment Agency. But either of those would be a good place to start if you want some help. Because I think there's some crops which it can like accumulate in, right? But yeah, I'd be a little bit nervous. Mm-hmm. It might just be one of those things where it's slightly elevated above normal levels, and actually you're fine. But yeah, Nicola's just said last owner lived on to her 90s, so she's not too bothered.
So what I hear from that is we should be adding a little arsenic to our soil.
Yes,
a little sprinkle,
yes,
amendment.
No more mycorrhizal.
JB.
Hello.
I've got a little picture here. Can you just give a little bit of description of what's going on? Man, God.
I'm getting PTSD. I'm getting all hot and bothered. So when was this? This was Saturday, Sunday? I don't know, this weekend at some point. It's all blurred into one. But yes, again, Linda, it's happened again. And I didn't even notice, I was in the Polytunnel.
Oh my
I
word!
just sort of arrived. I've been there for like a minute or two, just wandering through the Polytunnel, looking at the tomatoes, and I looked up and saw it. And when you're just like, "Are you kidding? Are you actually?" You're just looking at it like, "Am I imagining this?" And then, that's so frustrating. I
You
had
know what
my
it is though, Jibby? It's all right happening once, and you kind of made a good video, and it was quite nice, you know what I mean, and everything like that. But for it to, and it doesn't matter with the polytunnel. You can see there, it's not splitting. It's just again that, but it's like it's happened again now because I honestly
You're
thought
so right. You're so right.
I thought that was it. Do you know what I mean? You've kind of but the little has come back and done it again. So that looks to me though high up, as if they can bounce.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's the picture with the potato pot. So my theory is, you see one of those potato pots, it's all died back, ready for harvesting. Right. I'm pretty sure they jumped up on the potato pot and then had another scratch. I think they were trying to climb up actually as well. After that, there's some kind of paw and claw marks higher up. I did have my camera.
To get onto the top.
I think they might have been trying to. Yeah.
Do you think that was foxes?
Yeah, almost definitely. I think you could see. I think it might have been cubs. Actually, you can kind of tell by how close together their little 4 nails are, and there's a lot of cubs around this year. And yeah, so I did thankfully have all the stuff to repair it from last time. So it's all in the polytunnel. And last time the issue was I had to wait like a week, and I couldn't fence it. I couldn't do anything. I was waiting for the repair tape to arrive, and in that time, they attacked it again, and made it worse. And I was getting really, really anxious. But this time,
I never knew that and didn't know. So they came back a second time that first time to
Yeah, they definitely made it a little bit worse. Like I went back kind of the day after it had happened, and it was worse than it had been, the rip. So Marian's just said the foxes were practicing for Olympic trampolining. That would be a sight. Imagine that. You come down and you see a fox bouncing on top. But yes, it's all repaired and I've moved all the pots. And I'm hoping, really, really hoping, now that I've moved those potato pots, which I just didn't even think about it. When I put all those in, I thought, they look so nice against the side of the tunnel there. And it's just as they've died back, it's invited a little fox.
Forget the pots though, JB. I think you've got, don't want to kind of be a Debbie Downer or anything like that, but I think it's a bigger problem because even if the pots weren't there, why are they wanting to go through it though? Do you know what I mean?
I don't actually know. When I had the trail cam footage, it honestly looked like they were doing it for fun. There was like a small group of them just kind of milling around, and you can hear them going like, bah, 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 like really fast, like drumming on it. And in the middle of the night, I don't think there was anything in there that they were trying to get into. And in fact, it might even have been when I'd left the doors open, because I did do that before I had the defenses. I was like, I'm just going to leave the doors open so that if there is something inside that they want to get in, and that's why they're scratching, then they can get in. I think they're just like, they think it's fun. I think they think it's funny to torment me.
It's not fun doing the actual polythene. It's fun to watch this owner have a fit.
That's what I'm thinking. They're waiting around the corner in the morning when you come to see it.
Yeah, exactly.
What? I guess we've had Plan B, which was stick. What's the next plan then, JB, for this? So
I hadn't planned to make any more defenses than what I've already got. That chicken wire fencing that I've got, it's not very high. It's only kind of waist height, maybe. Has since kind of when they first did it in September, that has kept them off. They could jump it if they really wanted to. But I don't, because it's quite loose fencing. Apparently they don't like kind of loose fencing when you touch something and it goes and it's all kind of rattly and loose. That's what's going to put them off.
So is that just on one side though?
It is just on one side, funnily enough. But that's where the potato pots were. They could easily just jump up. It could have been, I've just had a big delivery of manure. So there are bags of manure in there. Maybe it was the smell that attracted them. Or maybe it was just that, that
it was fun.
manure going in coincided with the potatoes dying back. And Marion's asked if anyone else on the allotment has the same problem with their tunnels. And you know what? No one else has a polytunnel like mine. It's actually the only one on site that has like a proper skin. There's a few people that have got those, the blow-away tunnels that Steve used to call them, or the fly-away tunnels. But I don't know if they're quite as attractive to the foxes. I don't know. Yeah, it really knocked me. Actually, it was Saturday. It was, and I was really in the mood. I was in a great mood. That was the first thing I saw, and I was there, and I was like, you bloody.
Because I tell you what, Jimmy, because it's new. That's the thing as well. Yeah, we all like, you know what I mean? It'd be gut wrenching for anybody, but because the plastic was the first time was so brand new, but it's still brand new. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah.
and
it's exactly like you said. It's the fact that it's happened again. It just gives you that doubt and that kind of concern, that little bit of anxiety about, like, the next 10 times I go to the allotment, it's always going to be the first thing I do is go and see if there's any more fox damage.
That's it. You've hit the nail, because you wouldn't have thought about it, after that initial one. Now, you know what I mean? I just want to keep on piling on. Next time you go up, JB, them nagging doubts are going to be there again and again and again and again.
Yeah. If it did happen again, I think it'd be a case of sinking some proper, 8-foot high above ground fence posts, and then they're netting the whole thing. Keep them off.
I suppose you could, in a way, expensive. Go for the kind of, almost class it as shade netting as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If they go down that route and cut it for you, lad.
Or galvanized steel around the base, right? 4 feet high.
Or big metal sticks.
Oh, you don't want to do that.
No,
they're just trying to have a little fun.
It's the same with the squirrels, Audrey. They're just lovely, cute little things.
No, it is not.
No.
Nor with the cute little bunnies. It is not the same.
So, Audrey, how are you? How's things over there in Detroit?
Great. We had a wedding on Saturday.
Oh, of course. How did it go?
It was hotter than, I think it was 30 degrees Celsius. Like, it was hot. So I spent most of the day popping in and out of the house because I was like, I need a little air. So it went great. She loved it. That was the important part.
Have you got any pictures? You didn't send us any pictures. Got any nice snaps?
I didn't. My son was the photographer, so he's gonna, send me some snaps. And
nice.
He did a garden tour for me, and he has not yet sent me the tour. And he described things in his vocabulary. Like, he doesn't know what any of it's called. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing. I thought maybe I could just put on the screen like what it really is. So, and he's quite funny. So I'm thinking, okay, I'll take a look at that once you send it.
Yes, tour. Very good. Good.
Were they married in your garden, or was this just like the after? Oh, right. So kind of put the rings on and the vows.
Oh yeah, the whole deal.
Right.
And we had a little, how you get married under these hoop things? I don't know. Mm-hmm. I think they're called hopas. But we did it with fabric in the tree. So it looked like one of those, but it was just fabric. So so they were happy.
Be honest, Audrey. Did you go out after, like the day after, when everyone left, and had a good look around and say, look at the state of this bloody garden now?
No, it looked great
everywhere.
No, it looks great.
All right.
I am actually thinking I might not have to weed this week because everything, I was out there with like a magnifying glass. I think there's one little patch with some peppers that needs weeding, and that's it. So so we can kind of take the foot off the pedal on the garden this week because it's been, you know what it's like when you're having a big shindig at the house. You see everything a little differently.
Were you doing the buffet Audrey? Because I would have been over there. You know what I mean? Or did you just hire in?
No, we had it catered.
Right.
We happen to have a chef who lives behind us, and he smoked. It was a barbecue. He did smoked. He has a big, huge smoker in his backyard, and everybody was like, "I wish I could eat more. I wish I could eat more," because it was 35, 40 people, and he made enough for 100. So yeah, that was the biggest complaint. I can't eat enough.
I'm saying, Audrey, I was looking in my inbox for that invite. I still couldn't see it, so I don't know. It must have went in my spam folder or something. But
I know that you're a bit of a homebody, so I didn't want to have you fly to Detroit for this.
So, what about back to gardening then, Audrey?
Yes.
That's kind of put to bed there now, so you can kind of relax that front. What's one of your main objectives now then for?
Start seeding for the fall garden.
Right.
Which I can't believe we're already here. Because we flipped a few beds before the wedding, which I was a little sad about because they looked so full before they were harvested, but you can't, you got to go when it's time. So we had a lot of little teeny things in, but I thought, that's the garden life. It blooms or it's done. You gotta go with that. So, so yeah, I think it's time to get the fall stuff moving.
Well, I just had a little look this morning. There, I was gonna make a salad today. I'm in two minds. We've got salad in the greenhouse, but it's just getting. I don't know if it's because natural predators aren't going in the greenhouse. I leave all the windows and doors open, but it's in the yard downstairs. But the green fly is just honestly just and yeah, you can wash it all off. And we've got I'm using my son's salad spinner, which is a dream one. Do you know what I mean? I was always a little bit wary of them, leaving them wet and soggy still. But this thing by a company over here called Oxo. Is it Oxo?
Yeah.
Man, things dry. Do you know what I mean? It's just but and you can rinse them, but they're just honestly, I've never seen. Is anyone else getting hit with green fly?
Not on my salads. I've had a lot of black fly on the beans. They're really just starting to explode and take hold. So I have to be quite careful of that. But thankfully, not too much on the lettuce.
Now, will BT help? That won't help that, will it? It's neem oil is it neem oil that will do that?
Yeah, it would. Yeah. But on leafy crops, neem oil is a bit, especially if you're spraying. You end up eating it. Well, it doesn't taste too good.
We're going to have it tonight. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to I'm just going to have to put it in the back of me. I'm going to give it a good rinse. That's
bit of extra protein.
Yeah, just think of it like that.
Well, can you put it in a water with some salt in it? Would that help?
That's meant to do it, isn't it?
Yeah. Salt would do. Yeah. But then, yeah. I was just going to say you'd have to give a good rinse anyways, because then we don't really use much salt now. I try not to now. My wife never uses salt, so we're probably, if you could probably.
So you'd have to go buy some salt.
What was that, Audrey?
I said you'd have to go buy some salt so you can kill the green fly. Yes.
But I think I'm gonna. Could you, Audrey, eat lettuce? That's you've washed it. It's all clean now. Would that rankle you still? The memory of all the gunk on there.
Depends how gunky it looks.
Yes, exactly. That's
yeah.
The answer,
if it's a really gunky leaf, it's just going right. It's going away. And it's the same thing with any of my brassicas. If it's been bitten to death, I just say, okay, you can have this one too. Yeah.
It's why I quite like doing, lettuce like an iceberg with the tight head, because you just take off the outer leaves and then everything inside is fine generally, unless you've got some tiny little slugs hiding in there. But that's what the soul washer is for. Yeah.
Oh, we saw so many slugs at the end of the wedding. Because, okay, here's the thing about when you have a wedding in your yard. everybody's there to help you get stuff ready, and then the party's over, and my husband and I look at each other going, who's going to do all of this? So that was our job. And it was late, and it was hot, and it was damp, and there were slugs everywhere.
Oh, really?
And I thought, I had no idea we had them. I had not seen a lot, but wow, I'm not usually outside at night, so apparently we have plenty.
There it is.
Yeah, and I thought, oh, this is horrifying. I don't know how you guys deal with it.
Mind you,
they've just been hiding.
Obviously, though, with your temperatures, Audrey, it's just. But then they would come out at night and munch away, so they're not doing that. So it might be still, you know what I mean? And
I don't know, but they were everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
For someone that thought they had no slugs,
I know.
Bit of a little reality, eh?
I know, because I don't see them in my garden beds.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's the most important thing. Like, they're not going where they're predicted to go. So
do they not eat your crops though?
No.
Did you think something else was eating your crops, or do they just leave them alone?
Well, everything's really high, so I guess they'd have to work hard to get into. I was hoping they would be, but now that I'm aware of them, I'm going to be looking at the bite marks a little differently.
Yeah. It's normally pretty obvious because there's the trails they leave, right?
Oh, I know that horrifying trail.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's like they're melting on the sidewalk. Yeah. No, I do know the slug trail.
I don't mind the trails. It's when you lift something up and it's like the biggest thing you've seen in your garden that year. Do you know what I mean? Bigger than a kitten, and you think, wow, man.
It's like, what are they eating? Wow, they've probably eaten actual full crops that I haven't noticed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anybody got any tomatoes? Any ripe tomatoes? Any close?
Not yet. Nothing ripe. They are starting to. I've got quite a few just starting. The first truss on the bottom starting to form, but they're still only kind of half-sized. They're nowhere near full-sized or ripeness yet, but it's getting very exciting.
Well, I have joined, maybe, Audrey, the Blossom End Rot Club. I didn't realise.
Really?
I didn't realise. Not all of them. I think it's just. I need to go back up since I did that video and have a little look. That's the thing. The quad grows are brilliant, but it makes you totally relaxed. Do you know what I mean? Because I know they're getting watered, so I don't go up and check. But I got a few comments on me video there, and like, oh, you've got Blossom End, because when we mentioned it last. So yes, on a particular plant there is Blossom End Rot, which I just cannot get my head around how it would,
So is that chemical solution, the AB thing that you use, does it have any CalMag in it or no?
It's definitely enriched with calcium. It should do the job. You shouldn't be getting Blossom End Rot with that AB feed. I've had it before though, but I've had it before in quad grows, but I put it down to kind of still, even in a quad grow, a bit of inconsistent watering, letting it dry out, and you're probably not feeding it enough, because I tend to err on the underfeeding. And have you been keeping up the feeding though, Tony?
Well, it's every time I fill them, they have a feed. Do you know what I mean?
So doing it every time.
But it has been the stupidest swings in temperature. Do you know what I mean? The chilies seem to be fine with this. Do you know what I mean? But I've got outside tomatoes here, just back at this window on the ground there. Lovely outside ones, lush and green. They're probably up to my chin there now in these two troughs I've done. Where them ones in the polytunnel look like they've been through to hell and back. They've got fruit on and lovely things, you know what I mean? And they look like as if they're just going to get over the line. You know what I mean? It's just there's burnt leaves on them when it's obviously been too hot. There's just been... We were... 2 days ago, we've had the heating on a night time because it's been too cold, but it's been too warm.
Wow.
Yes, odd. Mm-hmm.
It has been some wild snaps. It's not quite got down to that cold down here.
what's going on? Do you know what I mean? Most nights, I'm still wearing a fleece in the house. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, and yet today, like we've took the dogs for a walk around the hills. It's just like you're sweating. Do you know what I mean? And I got my vest on. Do you know what I mean? I always have to wear a vest there now. You know what I mean? So I'm like back at it in the daytime, but night times, is just. And I don't know if that's stressing them out. I don't know if once they've got fruit on, they're a little bit more vulnerable to stress. Because I know it's like everyone says, oh, it's inconsistent watering. Do you know what I mean? But you would have thought quad growers don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it should solve that problem, isn't it? It's perfectly consistent. They've always got enough. That's the idea.
But I think it's also the CalMag does. That always helps mine in pots. And now that you guys are saying this, I'm like, I've got to do that tomorrow.
Have you still got... Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say... It's like
Dale.
BBC News interview from halfway across the world.
Audrey. You're on, JB. No, you can say what you were going to say.
I was going to say, Tony, have you still got CalMag lying around?
Well, to be honest, JB, I've got a gallon of it. A kind gentleman brought some up. And what I want to do from now on, though, because I wasn't keen on everyone says the AB, but I was just like, I'm a lazy one, and it's a bit of it, you know what I mean? It's like, and then you get like, you kind of mix it in with this and then put it, you know what I mean? It's got to be, and I'm thinking, I might just revert to, CalMag now anyways, you know what I mean? So...
Well, CalMag won't give you your macronutrients that they need to fruit properly.
But I've never done it. You know what I mean? Like AB, I've only once or twice used in a season, where I've always kind of just watered, and the majority of the year's grown tomatoes has just been Tomarite. Do you know what I mean? So,
well, that's what I mean. Yeah, if you replace the AB with something like Tomarite, then you're okay. But if you just replace it with CalMag, they'll be hungry.
These here are on Tomarite. You know what I mean? Like I've got Tomarite here. You know what I mean? And they're getting, but yeah, there's no fruit on. There's lots of little flowers, but they're luscious green. So I don't know if I'm just feeding the greens at the moment. Do you know what I mean? Where the ones in the polytunnel are like scorched to hell and back. I'm sure it's the swings in weather.
Probably.
But there's lots of nice fruit. Do you know what I mean?
You have a lot of fruit.
I'm not, you know what I mean? But I've still got to get them over.
Yeah, I don't find tomato plants all that attractive. So,
they do get scraggly.
Yeah, they just look kind of... And pepper plants are much prettier.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But they just are. They're lusher plants. So the fact that it's all about the fruit to me on a tomato, as long as you're making fruit, I think it's an okay plant.
JB, Linda's asking, can I ask if anyone bottom prunes and takes out outward fencing stems on Caspians? Let me just put that up there because I've read it wrong from Linda.
Oh, on chilies, on peppers.
Yes.
I assume they probably mean bell peppers. Yeah, it's probably a good idea for inward-facing stems. I have pretty much always done chili peppers that I do not prune at all. I pretty much never prune them. I just support them with 3 stakes so that they grow roughly in a kind of, that
roughly
nice
straight. Yeah.
Yeah. But I have noticed this year I've had a lot more like bushy growth, and it feels like in and around the main stem, the plants are going actually crazy, and they're doing all of this, and growing inwards. And it's on the bigger peppers. It's on the more mild peppers. So you've got some of them. I looked the other day, and there's like a massive pepper trying to grow in and amongst all the vegetation. And actually, I think it probably is a good idea to do a little bit of pruning if you've got things that are growing inward, things that are growing like super crisscrossed, or you've got flowers and things trying to fruit right deep in the middle of the plant, and they're going to kind of interrupt things, because if you get too much pressure on those stems, they're going to break off anyway, if you get pressure on the branches. So I think a little bit of remedial pruning can be quite helpful.
And you'll probably get
varieties.
the fruit like burying into a stem, you know, and like
exactly, yeah, exactly.
You know, that's just that's just gonna be a wasted bit of fruit, really.
Yeah,
you know. So,
Yeah,
I think
I was going to say it keeps airflow going too in the plant, so that you're less susceptible to a lot of things. So yeah, I think it's win-win.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it depends on how your plant is growing, you know, in that growth form. It's like I say, it's the first time this year that I've had some insanely bushy growth. I don't
What
know
have you,
why.
Jimmy?
It's
Have you
just
got like what you've just described, though? Have you got like fruit gonna like grow in the middle of?
a little bit, yeah. On
Right.
some of them, there's one a beaver dam on the greenhouse staging, and yeah, I noticed the other day loads of fruit sort of right in the middle of the plant, kind of getting all congested up in there. So I'll probably do a bit of pruning and take off some of those, and get the ones going on the outside more, so that they've got room
That
to
must be
do
like
what
a
they need to.
hard thing to do, because you'd be pruning off flowers as well. Do you know what I mean? There's
Yeah, you have to be
sacrificing.
quite careful when you prune about trying to take off as little as possible, because it's all wasted growth, But you get practice with it, don't you, over time?
Audrey, how's oh, you know what I've just thought there? And I haven't been up since I'd done it, so that was probably 4 days ago. I took a side shoot, but I haven't watered it since I was up there. So I'll have to have a little look tonight.
Well, it's raining today, so I still
Not
haven't
raining
taken it.
inside the Polytunnel, that's for sure.
Because, we got into wedding mode and it was like, okay, I gotta, but tomorrow, because we're gonna do some outdoor seating, I will be starting my side shoot mid-July. Haha, let's see what we get.
You might get something.
I think I'm quite convinced we'll get stuff.
See, I hope you're not going to cheat, Audrey, because it's no good taking a side shoot that's already got flowers on. This will be a plain, because I was looking
made that rule up since last week.
Well, that's cheating. It's just like taking a tomato plant and putting it into, you know what I mean? I want
if the side
on.
I don't think my side shoots are that big, but if I found one with a flower on it, why the heck wouldn't I take it? Like, let's save a little. Let's give you a little leg up here, dude. I wouldn't be like. Maybe I won't enter that one into the competition, but I will retreat. I will get fruit from that one. I know I will.
Well, I'll take a photograph of mine, because I forgot all about it. Do you know what I mean? That's another thing with these.
So it's sitting out with no water.
It's sitting
Where'd you put it
in the polytunnel. Do you know what I mean? I give it a good water, but that's you know what I mean? I'll fly up after this.
So you've already planted it. You've already planted it.
And I used clover compost, peat compost. I was going to win. Audrey was going to be the winner, but
probably be okay.
Honestly, I'll put money. I think it'll be dead. No, I'll be surprised if it's.
Did you let it get some roots on before you planted it?
No, I just snipped it off, popped it in. It would go down. It'll be not happy for a day or two, but then they come back. So
I know, but that only works if you're down there every day, and give them a little water and loving care. I'm actually going to put mine into root for a little bit in just some water.
In the water.
And then when I see the roots come, boom.
What I might do, though, Audrey, is take off a side shoot with flowers on, not tell you, put that in its place. You know what I mean?
And you're lecturing me about cheating. Okay.
It was a lovely offer. Okay. It was off Starfighter, Rebel Starfighter 1, so I was hoping to get. Oh, JB, because I don't think you got them, Audrey. Did you get it off Ian from Growing Local? A lucky dip? Were you part of the lucky dip? Like, he sent a seed over with like one seed in one packet. Well, the lucky dip one for me is a Rebel Starfighter, so I've now got 3 of them grown. So
it's going to be really funny if after all this talk about Rebel Starfighter, your new favorite tomato, if you taste it and you're like, oh, this is gross.
I don't think anyone's grown it before, and I'm growing them too. So, I limited myself to one of those.
Well, I've not got one.
We have a question in the chat, can someone establish the rules of the sucker challenge? I'd like to overrule that it can't have flowers on it.
That's just like snapping the tomato, putting it in a pot and saying that's a new one that'll get fruit on it. It's got to have no flowers on, surely, in this competition.
No, I do not think that's...
Not happy. Eh?
I'm going to give you some pushback there, Tony. I feel like, if you let the sucker go that long, reap the benefits.
I feel kind of impartial on it, but to muddy the waters even more, I think the sucker challenge should be an accidental sucker. It has to be one that you see by surprise. And at that point, It doesn't matter how big it is. It could be like gigantic. so long as it's an accident and you go, "Whoa, there's a sucker there. I need to use
Well, I
that."
don't think any of us are like growing them on purpose.
Well, you never know. You never know, Audrey, do you?
I'm hoping I have some out there.
The ones outside here, I've just left every sucker to grow. Do you know what I mean? So they're just like, although
and I wonder if there's any blooms on those, Tony.
Well, I'm going off, Audrey. There's a on my allotment, when you walk up from the bottom gate, probably 2 allotments, he's a very experienced gardener. And to be honest, everything looks lovely, but he does not take off any side shoots in his tomatoes. He just lets them all go. And he has bumper crops every year. And every veg is. His onions are amazing. Mine are like bloody. You know what I mean? Just everything is so good. You know what I mean? He's been gardening for all his life. Then I'm thinking. So that's what I've done deliberately here. I've just left all suckers on. And like I say, everything's green and healthy looking with flowers, but no fruit. Where in the polytunnel, the kind of lots of fruit, but no health-looking benefits.
So can we agree that the rules are it has to be a sucker? That's it.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Start it in water, start it in the ground.
So
like things you like.
So we're going to start again. We're going to do it this week for next. So we can say within these next few days, we're all going to do it. Is that right?
And I'll bring mine in the water for show and tell.
Right.
How's that?
Nice.
We'll see if there's any roots on it.
Show and tell. It's like school, and it's like nursery.
Exactly. Show and tell.
What have you got, Audrey, today? Oh, she's brought it to it. Oh.
Look at my sucker with a whole truss of flowers. A big root ball, yes. Yeah. How did that happen in 7 days? Oh, my goodness.
Audrey, would you consider cheating on Monopoly? Are you one of them people that cheat on board games?
Cheats on board games?
Yes.
You're supposed to cheat on board games.
I think, JB, we've got the level of Audrey there now.
Today.
Oh, my word. It's like playing cards. Are you cheating? Yes. If I can. Like, you got to watch. That's the point of a game. Come on.
Well,
if you don't see that, I'm bottom dealing you, that's your problem.
I'm not a cheater, but my wife is.
Me neither.
My wife is, and they were playing. I'm not really a board game, but my wife was playing. I always remember with the kids playing Monopoly, and she was getting beat. She got the board and flipped it in the air, just like that's it. Stop playing no more. You know what
I mean? Yeah.
So, all right. So we know where we stand with Audrey then, JB. We've just got to keep a close eye on this.
No, but see, now that comes to games. But in
gardening
real life,
isn't a game for Audrey.
No, what is it?
Gardening isn't a game.
It's not a game.
It's serious.
It's more like real life. See, I feel like games are not real life. So, yeah, have at it.
Yeah, very good. My face hurts.
How are chili peppers with you then?
Mine?
Yes. How just out of curiosity, how are your chili peppers doing?
Well, several of them are looking very good. Several of them are looking very small. So,
right.
But I will show them in this when I get the footage for my son. I'm going to fill in what he didn't go. I have no idea what this is. Looks like dill. He just called my asparagus frond thing dill. He goes, what do you do with all that dill, Mom? And I had to, gee, honey, that's not dill. Anyway, yeah, it's 6 foot tall dill. Wouldn't that be? I'd actually like that, but mine never quite gets that big.
What?
But anyway, none of them have. Well, no, I do have a lunchbox pepper on one of my plants.
Right.
So those are those cute little sweet peppers.
Snackable.
Yes, that you can just yeah. So I do have some, and they've actually changed. I think one is blushing into red. So yeah.
Right.
So that's very exciting from these silly little plants that I thought would not do anything.
Mind you, it's nice to see I'm using them chili growers, not the quad growers, chili growers for the Bertulloca ones and some more. And it's amazing to go from that like little thumbnail. Remember them little plants that were just like thumb? Now they're like, I mean, they're a squat bush, but they're a bush. Do you know what I mean? It's a bush. But I'm using the what you call it feed on them. You know what I mean? They're the only ones that are getting that. Oh, I forgot what's that chili feed called? Like the special.
Oh, chili focus.
Focus, yes. So
that's what I'm using for my tomatoes.
The bottle's there, and I'm just kind of giving a little. I'm kind of get comfortable sitting here.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff. That my chili grows were really weird. All the plants that went into them were really unhappy for quite a long time. But now I've started feeding, and they're like, they're so happy now. They were like a really pale green, and I don't know why. The ones in the chili grows in particular, they're exactly the same potting mix as everything else, but that really pale, almost yellow leaves. Yeah, I was like, oh, are they gonna die?
Doesn't that feel like they're like on their last breath?
Yeah, that's what they look like right at the end of the season,
right
when they're sort of all done. And I was a bit like, oh, these look touch and go. But I gave them a feed, and bang, so it wasn't, just like dark green, new growth coming up, looking really good.
It has to be though, JB. Compost. It's got to be.
Well, no, because I've got like 30 other chili plants all in the same stuff that were completely fine. So I don't know, maybe it was a slightly different. I don't think, I'm pretty sure I did them at the same time as everything else.
Or what about, JB, did you wet the wicks? Did you wet your wick? As they say.
I didn't wet my wick, actually.
Okay,
no.
Okay.
I didn't wet my wick, Audrey.
I know. I'm like, what exactly are we talking about? You guys have so many names for things that I don't understand.
That one isn't an English slang. That's just the when you get your wicking matting for the quad grays, you're meant to wet them. Okay. You're meant to wet them first.
Okay. You didn't do that, JB, did you not?
I never do that. I always forget. That's fine.
Really? You don't do it?
Isn't that the point?
Oh man!
Well, you put them in wet soil. When I first pot up, I always get the soil quite saturated, and that'll wet the wick, won't it? That'll wet the wick. It's fine. I did think when you said the compost, though, I don't know. Yeah. I think they might have actually gone into one of my peat-free compost trial things. I think I mainly used Heart of Eden on them. But actually, I've only just realized, after looking at them for like a month, I've only just realized now talking to you, which is a bit silly, isn't it? But I think they did have a different compost. But they're fine now, which is the main thing. And all the other plants are looking really good. Really good year for me for chilies. So.
Okay, I'll be honest, I'm happy as anything with the chilies. Do you know what I mean?
I told you they would pick up, didn't I?
Yeah.
I told you early in the season. I told you. Give them time.
I think they're suited to a quad grow. Do you know what I mean? Really,
they like quad grows.
Yeah, because they're not like
they do.
The tomatoes are just so greedy for the water. Do you know what I mean? It's just like where the chilies seem to just be like middle of the road, not bothered, as long as we just get a little bit. You know what I mean? And
your tomatoes though are like 6 feet tall. Your chilies
you just
aren't.
Want them to look pretty.
I know,
pretty tomatoes.
That's JB's hat. That you know what I mean? JB's.
Yeah.
Well, it's right because there's someone. I'm sure someone in the comments went, "Oh, Tony, your tomatoes don't look good." You know what I mean? I was like, "What do they not?" No, you know.
They look like tomatoes to me.
Yeah, I think it's just a really tough growing season. I've seen a few other channels on YouTube as well. People's got some ugly tomatoes this year because of the leaf curl from the temperature swings. It's just
mine not even just leaf curl, though. They've actually, the leaves have burned. Do you know what I mean? The kind of there's like, you could crunch them like that. Do you know what I mean? Kind of. So, but like I say, the tomatoes are still there. You know what I mean? And I might have a couple of blossom envelopes, but I know at the moment crops are good. So that's all that, in the end, that's all that matters. No good having good, nice green leaves. Mind you, can I
hesitate. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go on, Audrey. You're doing it every time now, but it will let you off, you know.
I was going to ask, and I'm a little reticent to ask this because it involves compost. What is it that you miss about having peat in the compost?
So I have pretty much always used peat free, but Tony has always used peat. So Tony has had like years of experience of using clover as your bread and butter, right? And then you've gone a peat free. Stop me if I'm wrong, Tony. I'm speaking for you. No, go on. But you've had like that one bad experience with silver grey, and now you're back to peat.
Well, I've had a couple of bad experiences. I had that bad experience with the Durstons. Remember the Durstons that set like concrete? That was...
Oh, yeah. There are a few you tried, actually, but there was that sheep one as well, right? Like you grow.
I don't... Yeah. You know, and they... Bless them, they got in touch with, or sent a couple of emails saying, you know, can we...
Oh, really?
You know, we're just like a little company. Can we like work with you to kind of sort this out? And I said, can you give us... She said, can you give us some honest feedback from it? And I just said, it wasn't very good. It was burning the plants. And I never heard back. Do you know what I mean? When I give the honest feedback, I didn't get any reply back. And I mean, I used, because it did say on the bag that, I think it was called You Grow or something like that. Like, and it was all, you know, it was great marketing. But it actually did say as well a soil conditioner, as well as, you know, they were trying to kind of do it as everything. Now, if they just packaged it as a soil conditioner, that might have been fantastic. Do you know what I mean? Where it got broken down a lot more easily with you know, all the other soil. But when you were just doing seedlings with it, again, it was.
This is a really interesting thing that came up when I did my peat-free compost trial video, right? Because we in the UK use compost to mean an awful lot of things, especially in terms of bag products, right? So a lot of people in the UK call potting mix compost. And so I had quite a lot of people in the comments like really confused, like why are you testing all these composts by planting things into it and that kind of thing. And to be fair to the commenters, one of the bags I bought, which was home base, it was marketed, said on it garden compost, and I thought, okay, garden compost, probably the same as a general purpose compost, multi-purpose compost that you can plant into. It wasn't until afterwards I read it on the back, used for as a soil conditioner. You know, chuck it on your beds. It's not suitable for potting. So a lot of the time in the UK, when we say compost, we're just not very accurate with it. But if you go on the RHS website, most you know, growing guides will say plant this into a multi-purpose compost. That's kind of the terminology that we use. But it could be much more specific, I think.
Yeah, that took me a minute to figure out, because I thought, wow, they're planting in really rich soil all the time. We have something that's actual compost that we call compost.
Yeah.
And then everything else is potting mix, seed starting mix. I mean, the trail goes on.
So your actual compost is what, Audrey, though? Peat, like
no, so when I buy compost, it's usually composted manure, or it's composted. There'll be a recipe kind of on the back, lets you know what's in it.
Yeah, we don't have that here. It's so mysterious. Every bag of compost is a mystery. Yeah. It's quite frustrating. Which is one of the reasons I like silver grow, which we call compost, but isn't really compost in the traditional sense. It's like a mixture of coir, of wood fiber, and of composted bark fines and that kind of thing. So there's a compost element to it, and it should be weed free. But a lot of the time you do just, the compost is green waste compost. You know, it's from a municipal tip, but that generally is what a lot of people in the UK will plant into as their kind of.
You know, JB, when we got talking,
green waste.
You know, when we got talking about the company Silver Grow, and you know, the kind of came and they said there was missing things. I thought about what you said about things leaching out, and I thought about this at 3 a.m. I was thinking of you, JB.
As you do.
As you do. Do you know what I mean? But what JB's up to? It couldn't have leached out. Do you know what I mean? It couldn't have leached out because mine, and most people's couldn't have leached out because 90% of the time they're on a pallet and they're like latticed work in together. And I remember mine, you know what I mean? I kind of pulled it off. I used it. I didn't leave it out for 6 months in the garden to leach out.
Yeah, but they can get really wet on the pallets. It's surprising, even in that lattice framework, especially like if you've got lattice, driving rain.
You know what I mean? I don't know.
I do think you're right. I'm not 100%. That was my working theory.
You know, but it's not.
Yeah. But okay, can we go back to the original question?
Yeah. What was that?
What do you find the difference between a peat compost that has peat in it and one that doesn't? Well, like, why is it?
I got told,
especially Tony,
Audrey. I got told off the seller who I buy mine off from. He says all nurseries still use kind of this, and he says use it, Tony, and it's cheating. That's what he's saying. I mean, it's like cheating. And honestly, Audrey, the difference is unreal. Do you know what I mean? It's just like it's night and day.
So is it that it retains water better? It has more nutrition.
There's more natural nutrients in which, I mean, listen, don't get us wrong. It's taken, you know, they're going to be banned and it's all, you know, negative. But until something comes up, I'm happy to try something else. Do you know what I mean? I've spent nearly £100 on Silver Grow this year and it didn't work out for us. I've tried Dursons, I've tried this, you know, I've tried things, but I've got to keep going back because it knocks your whole growing season. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, you can't buy just bags of peat.
You can, but you wouldn't want to grow in that.
When you buy
clover,
maybe you could add it to your Silver Grow, and you might get better results.
What do you mean?
I'm just saying, if you
mine's just
peat.
So clover won't be 100% peat. It'll be peat based. It's probably around 30% peat. I'm not sure what the rest is, and I'm guessing. I don't know this, but generally peat will be kind of like the main ingredient, but there will be normally other stuff as well because peat is more like about the texture and water retention and that kind of thing. It's not actually, I don't think it's particularly nutrient rich peat. And you can buy like 100% Irish moss peat and that kind of thing, but if you tried to grow in that, I don't think it would do very well.
No, I was just thinking if you'd spent £100 on that if you added some peat to it, maybe you'd have results that you're happier with.
I mean, Audrey, it got used. I just put it as a soil conditioner in the allotment, which was, you know, as beneficial as I could, you know, do with it. So
sure.
But I'll certainly try something else. That's not a problem. But it's just it bugs us because you get like you know, you start off early and you only get a window and you've missed it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't mind trying stuff, but like there's my main stuff. You know, and I've heard so many scary stories of other companies over here, Audrey, in the UK. There's a one called, you know, well, there's a few. You know what I mean? You hear the kind of over that. You know what I mean? So, and I mean, Steve was a big, you know what I mean? He was saying like that they haven't got their act together at all at the moment and it's going to come crashing down. That's why he was doing all them experiments, the hot bin, everything to kind of make his own because he knew this day was coming. Do you know what I mean? So, anyway, we've ranted on for 30 minutes about picking peat again in compost.
That's why I said I'm reticent to ask this, but yeah.
Have you... Can you get over there then, Audrey?
Oh, yeah.
Can you get...
Yeah.
peat,
I can
like
buy-
Irish peat?
Oh, I can buy huge bags of peat. Yeah.
It
But I
normally comes
use-
from Canada, though, right? In the US.
Probably.
And I think it can be sustainably harvested in Canada because the size of their wetlands and bogs are like colossal compared to the UK. So it actually grows. The peat accumulates faster in Canada than it's being harvested.
Yeah. So yeah, I can, but the compost and stuff that I use is peat free. But I was thinking, I wonder if I added a little peat to it, if that might supercharge it.
JB, you were very environmentally friendly there. Would you ever consider using clover?
Yeah, I mean, if it was all I could get, and it is interesting when you look into all the statistics. I was really surprised at how small the footprint of horticultural peat use is compared to all the other uses of peat.
Sure.
And the biggest impact for peatland and wetland is agriculture and forestry, and even like extraction for fuel and extraction for horticultural use. They're right low down. So the horticultural, like the peat ban and that kind of thing, I was really surprised when I looked into it, because it's backed by most environmental charities like the Wildlife Trust and that kind of thing. But it's not going to make much of a difference in the grand scheme of things, basically, even if the ban does finally get through after decades of talk about it. It's a drop in the ocean compared to all the other impacts on on peatland and wetland and the carbon sink in the UK. So it's actually, if anything, it's made me feel not that bad about, if I had to get my season off to a good start, buying 10 bags of peat a year, or 10 bags of peat-based compost growing medium, because compare that to a nursery and a garden center that's going to go through 100,000 bags. It's
Well, Chris is saying,
I like silver grey though.
Chris is saying he buys all different bags of compost, soil conditions manure, the whole lot, and mixes. That's a good idea, to be honest, and then you kind of know what you get.
I like the mad professor composting. That's good.
Well, listen, we're at the top of the hour there, and I just want to show folks this, just to give a little plug, if I can, for my Patreon, or for the Pottymouth Patreon. I'm thinking of this idea. There's a few ideas.
Oh, gosh. I saw that, and I wondered what that was for.
Another advertiser-friendly branding.
I know.
This is going to be. I've bought. I don't know if you can say. I'm going to do some like audio. Where's the camera there? Podcast. So this is a little kind of to get a nice rich, because I've been doing podcasting since 2005. So it's nice to kind of. I'm going to sit in the hut and do some just audio and around the allotment, and then anywhere else. This is part of the Patreon. You will get the Mother Chucker Garden experience if you join Patreon. And I actually asked ChatGPT to make us a title using the word Mother Chucker, and it was an AI that came up with the Mother Chucker Garden experience. So that's going to be a private podcast. So if you join for as little as £2 a month,
JB, it is a bargain.
JB, where can we find you, sir?
You can find me at Naturally JB on YouTube and Instagram.
There you go. Audrey.
Real Food Comes Dirty. YouTube, Instagram, and .com.
.com. Thank you very much. Well, you too, and hopefully we'll get Jess next week as well to see how Polytunnel's going on and everything like that. Should be all
and everybody bring their show and tell.
Yes.
Sucker cutting.
Mm-hmm. Bring your sucker to
Pottymouth
Garden Club.
To Pottymouth.
And a big thank you to everyone who came into the chat. I should put up. I just realised I can put up the comments and that again. So big thank you everyone who was in there. It's been lovely. Thank you for joining the Pottymouth Garden Club. We'll see you next week. Look after yourselves.
Thanks all.
Take good care.
See you next week.